his computer. All right. And so anyway, I'm going to welcome to the April Long Beach Area Police Network meeting. I'm Marshal Plasovsky, the chair of the steering committee, and I'm going to be the facilitator, host. I'm going to do everything for this. Unless somebody wants to volunteer to be the facilitator, I'll just do it. So, all right. And so I'm going to have SD Chandler, who's the SD is the founder of Jewish Voice for Peace, host and producer of Middle East in Focus. She's an incredible, I was going to say the star of stage, screen, and whatever else you're supposed to be. She's famous, and yeah, just look her up on IMDb. That's one of my favorite sites, and whatever that means. And you'll find out, you'll see her profile. So what I'm going to do is that was your so okay. So SD, I'm going to just turn this over to you. You're going to be talking about what's going on in Israel today.
And I'm just going to correct you ever so slightly. I am not the founder of Jewish Voice for Peace. I'm the founder of Jewish Voice for Peace Los Angeles.
Right. Okay. That's true. I had you found them.
Okay, just for clarity. Well, thank you all very much for the invitation. I'm going to jump right in. For months, many of us have watched massive demonstrations in Israel over the proposed overhaul of the Israeli judiciary by the most extreme far-right and indeed fascist government in Israeli history. And that's saying a lot, because before this administration came to power, several major human rights organizations had written detailed, extensive reports concluding that Israel's government is an apartheid regime. And as we know, on the issue of Palestine and Israel, the US media can, and usually does, remove Palestinians and their rights from the way they frame events in Israel, if they report on them at all. Many people watching the enormous and prolonged protests in the streets of several Israeli cities have been hopeful that they are about peace, or at least something that could lead to it. And many others, including Peter Beinart, have felt deeply inspired by the mass Jewish Israeli protests over the Netanyahu administration's movement towards depowering the Israeli High Court. And yet, as Beinart eloquently noted, there's also a kind of horror to it, because if those were Palestinians in the streets of Tel Aviv and Ashkelon and Jerusalem fighting for democracy, fighting against fascism, as the Israeli protesters are, they wouldn't be staying out all night on the streets, stopping traffic, taking over highways, and setting little fires. They'd be in jail, or they'd be maimed, or they would be dead. Because that is the reality for Palestinians.
That's right.
And this would be true if they were Palestinian citizens of Israel as well. And that is the profound difference in the way the state deals with Israeli Jews who are fighting to maintain democracy for themselves exclusively, and Palestinians who are seeking to achieve democracy for themselves. As George Basharat and Jamil Dakwar wrote recently at Haaretz, quote, "To any Palestinian, the upheaval within Israel and among Western commentators over threats to Israel's democracy by its new governing coalition is surreal. Palestinians know that Israel has only ever been a democracy for its Jewish citizens and never for us. What we are witnessing today is an internal Israeli Jewish struggle over who will administer an apartheid regime over the Palestinians. not a genuine fight for democracy for all, end quote. And as Bashar and Dakwar point out, the same Supreme Court that the Israeli Jews are out fighting to maintain has rarely seen a seizure of Palestinian land that it didn't like. And while it did expand its legal standing to hear cases of Palestinians living under Israeli military occupation, it has typically approved nearly all of Israel's land seizures. The court has also, in effect, given its blessing to state-sanctioned violence and tools of repression against Palestinians. The High Court has approved targeted killings, the demolition of family homes as collective punishment, imprisonment without trial based on secret evidence, forced removal and deportations, as well as bans on political expression and freedom of movement. And at any time now, the Israeli army plans to bulldoze 2 Palestinian villages in the West Bank, Masafer Yatta and Khan al-Amar. The court ruled the army could use the land for military training despite warnings from the International Criminal Court prosecutor that, quote, extensive destruction of property without military necessity and population transfers in an occupied territory constitute war crimes, end quote. We can talk more about the record escalation and violence towards Palestinians by Jewish, Israeli police, soldiers, and settlers over the past 2 years. But what is needed now is simple. It's action. Last month, a congressional sign-on letter to President Biden was offered by J Street and spearheaded by Rosa DeLauro, Jim McGovern, and Jan Schakowsky. It calls on Biden to use all diplomatic tools available to prevent Israel's current government from granting members of the Knesset control over judicial appointments, eliminate judicial review of legislation, and permitting the legislature to overturn Supreme Court decisions because those things would, quote, jeopardize Israeli democracy, end quote. And while it mentions settler attacks and the over 60 Palestinians who have been killed in the West Bank so far this year, the words occupation and Palestinian rights are not to be found at all in the letter. The letter mentions a commitment to opposing settlement expansion, but is void of any suggestion that actions be taken to prevent it. In fact, and the fact is that the current Israeli government is behaving exactly as the people who make up the government have promised to for decades. And the violent racist speech coming from Israeli officials makes it clear that the Israeli military will continue to escalate its violent attacks on Palestinians, backed by upwards of $3.8 billion in annual military funding from the US government, which, like the J Street letter, continues to parrot backing for a two-state solution that the Oslo Accords provided decades for Israeli settlement, development, and expansion to render impossible. But after months of work, last month, Jewish Voice for Peace Action welcomed the news that Representative Jamal Bowman and Senator Bernie Sanders were planning to circulate their own letter, which we and allies had worked with them on, to President Biden and Secretary of State Blinken, asking the administration to undertake a shift in US policy in recognition of the worsening violence, further annexation of land, and denial of Palestinian rights by the Israeli government, and to ensure that all future foreign assistance to Israel, including weapons and equipment, is not used in support of gross violations of human rights. The issues, context, and policy positions highlighted in this letter that Jewish Currents called Congressional Progressives' most forceful response yet to Israel's new far-right government could not come at a more critical moment. The letter was published last Friday with 14 congressional members signing, including Bowman and Senator Sanders, and with endorsements from over 30 organizations, including groups like Center for Constitutional Rights, Center for Jewish Nonviolence, Dream Defenders, If Not Now, Jews for Racial and Economic Justice, Justice Democrats, Movement for Black Lives, Peace Action, Progressive Democrats of America, Surge, Win Without War, Working Families Party, and of course, JVP Action. This letter highlights that for the last few years, many members of Congress have written to the Biden administration with deep concern regarding the entrenched Israeli military occupation of the Palestinian territories, the occupation and military siege of Gaza, and the Israeli government's worsening systemic violations of Palestinian human rights. And that now the US government must take immediate and concrete action to hold the Israeli government accountable for its systemic violations of international law and Palestinian rights. The letter calls on the State Department to immediately determine whether US origin defense articles have been used in violation of existing laws, including the Arms Export Control Act, the Foreign Assistance Act, and the US Leahy laws. And it calls on the Biden administration to ensure that all future foreign assistance to Israel, including weapons and equipment, is not used in support of gross violations of human rights. Concrete actions. As for JVP Action, we maintain an unconditional commitment to justice, equality, freedom, and dignity for all people. No exceptions. To achieve a future where all are safe and free, we must end the Israeli government's settler colonial apartheid regime. And as an American Jewish organization, we are acutely aware of the role our own institutions and government play in the ongoing state violence against Palestinians. We continue ongoing efforts to educate, activate, and organize campaigns to pressure our elected representatives to turn their deep concern into concrete actions to hold the Israeli government accountable for their actions and to stop arming them. We continue to call for an end to US military funding and complicity in Israeli apartheid. And we call on our fellow progressive American Jews to actively participate in the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement until all Palestinians are free. Thank you for the time.
Mute. Thank you, Esty. That was a wonderful little talk. One of the things I have a question about is just, I guess we met with Robert Garcia. I don't know, has he signed that letter? He has not signed that, so.
I tried.
You tried, okay. But
I
it looks
gave him
like we're gonna,
opportunities, but he did not sign.
all right, looks like we're gonna have to have another meeting with him.
Or it'd be great if you guys just let him know that you're disappointed that he's not on it.
Yeah. Can we all send a letter to, just start texting him or getting on his site and
I would
sending him?
suggest,
Yeah. Mhm.
sorry, don't mean to interrupt you. I would
Sure.
suggest both putting it in writing and sending an email or,
Mhm.
going on his website if he requires, but also picking up the phone and calling, because
Okay.
ringing phones when they hear the phones ringing, it makes a big difference.
Okay, good.
May I say something?
Sure.
It's Marlene. Okay, so I just got finished in a meeting with the DSA BDS organization. We are doing a flyer now where we talk about the $38 million and comparing it to how they're destroying Israeli homes and we need homes here. And so at the end, we're asking people to call their they're congressional persons, you know, and senators. I think I need to advise the people that are putting that together to give the phone numbers exactly of who to call. The other thing is, would anybody be interested? We're going to be handing out flyers. We're going to be flyering at the Long Beach Albertsons, I think it is, on the 29th of Saturday. And usually it's only 3 of us that go out and do the flyering. I've been doing it every month, once every Saturday, with my husband Barry and another member of DSA, Roy. We have had Dennis and Marshall come, but on a whole, so far there have only been 3 of us who've been flyering every once a month. And it would be nice to have other people come and join us to help us flyer. We only do it for 2 hours, actually.
Mhm.
We do it from 2 till 4. And recently we discovered, and we also asked him to not to buy Sabra hummus. Recently we discovered that El Super in Long Beach only has Sabra hummus. So I put together a flyer in Spanish, where we're going to be going next in May to El Super and do flyering there. And I'll be, because I can speak Spanish, we're going to be making flyers in Spanish and in English, because everybody that goes to El Super only doesn't speak Spanish. So once again, I think now's the time. I really would like people to help us do this.
Good, that's good.
I'm happy to say that I'm also a DSA member, and that along with some other JVP members, we've been working with the DSA working group. I also want to let you know that there was a small campaign started by another JVP member and I ahead of Passover, asking Trader Joe's to stop selling matzahs made in Israel. And that in my opinion, Trader Joe's is a great target, because they have about 5 or 6 items made in Israel, and they're very, very receptive to input from customers. And our approach, I can send you the note, wasn't harsher. It was saying, we love Trader Joe's. We feel good about shopping at Trader Joe's because of their mission to bring quality products at good prices. But we don't feel good and could never feel good about buying products made in Israel as long as Israel is continuing the occupation of Palestinians and abusing their human rights. So please, and then you sign your name. So it's a really friendly approach to say, we love your store and you should know you shouldn't be selling these items.
Okay, so
Great,
I
that's
didn't
terrific.
think about the matzah, but that's true. But because it's DSA Long Beach, so I didn't realize that maybe we could also include those products. But we don't have too many Jewish people that go shopping at El Super. But
Right.
Right, but you probably have Trader Joe's down there.
yeah, we should go to Trader Joe's. That's not a bad idea. Okay.
Okay, we got 2 other people. Armin, do you want to
Yes, I want to
join the
ask,
fray here?
Estee about that IHRA. How limited are we by that? I mean, I personally am not. I don't give. I have no problem criticizing a government, anytime, any place. I don't care whose it is. But is there a limitation that we don't want to get snarled up in?
Well, I suppose it depends on the venue. Right now, I don't think that there are any that are binding. Clearly, the IHRA definition, if people aren't familiar, is a definition that was put together by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, an organization obviously was chosen to put out a working definition, because when you say Holocaust, who's going to argue with you? It was horrific. So by branding it that way, you know, it's a bit of a sleight of hand and a bit of a misrepresentation. But if you read the definition, it really is insufficient. It doesn't say anything about the causes of anti-Semitism, and the real hook in it and why they put it out there is that it includes, this innocuous definition includes 12 examples of anti-Semitism, the majority of which have to do with criticizing Israel. So it's something that we continue to fight. It's up to us as Jewish Americans to do that. But, I don't think there's anything legally binding on it right now. And we are going to work as hard as we can to help make sure it stays that way.
One more question. Is there some sort of push against the states that are enacting the anti-BDS laws?
So the incredible thing about those laws is that obviously there were legislators in all of those states that felt fine voting for something that many, if not most of them, understood to be unconstitutional.
Yeah.
But they also know that they're popular with Israel supporters who, donate to candidates, and that in order for them to get overturned, they need to find somebody in the state who has standing, who's being harmed by them in real time. And for the ACLU, Palestine Legal, or other legal organizations, CARE has taken some of the cases, to go and fight. I can tell you all that there is an absolutely fantastic film, and as Marshall said, I am a professional filmmaker, called Boycott, by Just Vision, which is like a legal thriller. It's such a great movie, and it explains the process, and it highlights the stories of several people who have had the tenacity to fight for their rights in court. And in most of those cases, they've prevailed. In one case, it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court denied it. So it's going to go back to the appellate court, I believe.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Bruce, you're next. Bruce Jenkins.
You're muted, Bruce.
Okay.
There you
My
are.
question to you, Esty, is you mentioned about the Biden administration and the Secretary of State Blinken. Have you gotten any response from these people, or are they ignoring you guys?
Well, the letter was from, it was from 13 congressional representatives led by Jamal Bowman and Bernie Sanders from the Senate. And it only got sent on Friday. So
Okay,
I don't think that they've received a response yet.
got it. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Sure, thanks for the question.
Okay, Wayne, you're next. I see your hand up.
Thanks. Thanks, SA, for doing this and fielding questions. You mentioned boycott. What is that? A movie, a documentary, I guess?
Yes.
And is that available online to see? And if so, can a link to it be put in the chat? Is that what you just came up?
Yep, doing it right now.
Okay.
Great.
That was one thing. I don't know if you know of Sherna Gluck
I do.
and Dennis Corter and whatnot.
I do.
I've suggested, there's a group called ifamericansknew.org, and they've done some phenomenal things of putting up billboards around the country. One in Florida, of all places, I would not have expected. What they've done is they've Sherna wanted to talk about the Nakba 75 and everything. People don't know what that is. They don't want to, it doesn't affect them. They kind of like the general public doesn't really care. So I've been pushing the whole thing of what the group did was they put up a billboard, $10 million a day goes to this talks to, hey, this is your tax money coming out of your pockets. I thought that was very good. So I'm just giving you a heads up on that and hoping that you can collaborate with them, because we're trying to reach out to different groups to see if they can donate towards the.
Looks like you froze.
Up a billboard on, say, the 407, or like, so it can be seen from the 405 or the 7 and the 710 together. Yep, that's it.
So I'm aware of the billboard campaigns, you know, different campaigns have been going on for many, many years. As far as Jewish Voice for Peace is concerned, that's one approach that they're taking. And I'm sure that in certain parts of the country and in, you know, certain areas, that will be a very effective message. For us, we are, we're focused on Palestinian human rights. And so our rhetoric and our campaigns are about, you know, the harm being done to Palestinians and not sort of diverting the attention. So that's just our approach.
I get that, but I'm thinking multi-pronged.
That's what I'm saying, is that's an approach that personally I feel could be very effective, especially in certain parts of the country. I'm just saying, you said that you were reaching out to organizations, that it's not JVP's approach. Like you said, in order to build a house, it takes many different tools. And each one is very effective in its job. And, you know, there's lots of jobs to be done.
Mhm.
Different materials too.
It's true.
That's right.
So are there any more questions? I wanted to thank Esty. And actually, I wanted to have a quick discussion about an action item on this, that we should get the letter from Jamal Bowman and Bernie Sanders disseminated among our active people in Lebanon, and have a one-day call and come up with a script and have a 1 day or 1 or 2 day call in. Where we just we call Garcia and we call Barragan and see if we can get them to join the thing. I don't know. That I'd like to have somebody make a motion like that.
I will move to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a set?
Sorry, I don't mean
Oh,
to
that's
interrupt. For clarification, the letter has already been put out.
Oh, no, we're going
So-
to use the letter as our basis
Okay,
for
okay.
our
yeah,
discussion.
because
In other words,
they can't join the letter anymore because,
No, I understand that.
Okay.
No, we're just going to take the letter and read, because I don't think anybody's read it here. I haven't read it myself, so. Which,
And we can reconstruct it.
yeah, and we'll just use it to make it into a script for us and say, this letter, you got to support this. And does anybody second that?
I second.
Okay, all right. So all those in favor, or is there any discussion? Okay, seeing no discussion. All those in favor say aye. Or raise your hand.
I
Opposed?
And I
Any-
assume then that we'll be able to get the copy of that letter.
Yeah, I will disseminate that probably tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not staying up past 10 o'clock tonight. I'm sorry. All right. Okay. Well, Esty, I want to thank you. You could continue with our meeting, or you could, I'm sure you have other stuff to do, but whatever.
yes, thank you very much.
I
Yeah,
do.
thank
Thank you
you.
guys so much and good luck with your action. And I look forward to seeing you guys again.
Yeah. All right, great. All right, so we're getting back to our agenda. Let's see. Do you want me to put the agenda up on the screen? I can do that.
Yes,
Yes, okay. Let's see. Here is the agenda. Okay. All right. I don't know, let's see. It's not doing much here. No, I'm good. Okay. Here we go. All right. So anyway, we have the acknowledgements. Does anybody want to read these acknowledgements?
No, I think
Well,
we're
we
all
can look at-
100% behind them.
Okay, yeah, it's good.
I don't, yeah.
Okay, I'll do it this
Alright.
time.
Great.
Land acknowledgement. We meet today on the land of the indigenous Tonga and Achamen people. We respect the land and all the other beings with whom we share it. We didn't find it. Black Lives Matter. We celebrate the lives of our brothers and sisters who have been taken from us by the institutions of white supremacy. We call for an end to anti-Asian scapegoating and the violence which that rhetoric has precipitated against Asian Americans and other Asian people. We acknowledge the detention, deportation, exploitation of migrants. The hundreds of children separated from their families must be reunified, but that reunification will not be justice. Justice will be the abolition of the border. Keeps moving on me.
Oh, sorry.
Solidarity with the Palestinian people and their struggle for liberation against settler colonial apartheid. The state of Israel's is currently committing genocide. And that's kind of anti-Semitic, isn't it? With the support of the United States. I think that was it.
And I think there's one more on
Okay.
the top there.
We abhor acts of anti-Semitism, which target people because of their heritage, culture, and religion.
Thank you, Wayne. Wayne has joined, by the way, Wayne has joined the steering committee. And he's already made some great contributions. So anyway, let's see, we just need a timekeeper. Maybe Armin can do that. And Aline is not here, but we're taping this meeting, so
That's good.
yeah. And so she's gonna work on that. I didn't get the troop levels. I don't know what.
Marshall, if you want, I can verbally say, and I apologize for not sending it to you.
Okay, yeah, if you could just give us a quick.
Yeah, a quick thing. Basically, a lot of things haven't really changed in Syria, Iraq. Did want to mention that the Nimitz is still in the South China Sea, messing around with the Chinese Navy. And that you probably all heard in the big news was the big leak by a National Guardsman about what's happening in Ukraine. And yeah, there's special forces there. Basically, they're the same troops that I was talking about earlier, the last couple months, saying that they were there. I just didn't call them special forces. But that's the same troops that talking about. Basically, they're in the embassy, working out of the embassy, doing two things. Basically, is providing security for the embassy, which the military always does, and all embassies is military. Typically, the Marines, detachment of Marines at every embassy, but these are they're using special forces. Plus, they're providing protection for the embassy people as they move around. They're also ensuring that all the military gear equipment from the U.S. being shipped there ends up in the right hands. But they were identified as special forces. I just wanted to kind of put everybody's mind at ease. The special forces there aren't in combat, but of course they're in harm's way. Means the whole country's at war.
Right. Right.
Any questions? Trying to make it short this month.
Yeah, well, I know some Americans got killed in And
Yeah,
Syria,
there's
isn't it?
volunteers going there.
Yeah.
Some of them have been killed, some of them are missing.
mm.
All right.
Now, you mentioned China, and it just came across my radar that China just recently has a new what is it, atomic missile that can go really, really fast or something.
I just saw it. Yeah, it's there. All the big countries are working on that. Everybody pretty much admits that the Chinese are probably a little bit ahead of everybody on that.
Yeah.
This type of thing has been. I know even when I was in the service when I retired back in the 80s, that was a big worry. The technology back then just wasn't there, but that was still a big worry that people were actually working on it back then.
I would think of another part of that worry would be if they've got a faster delivery system now, do we have the capability to, do we just tuck our head between our legs or?
We hope CWIS works.
Yeah, they're actually putting low-level satellites in orbit as we speak. The U.S. is to track those type of weapons, and plus other things too. But
Yeah, I mean, this is a peace group, and I think the main thing is de-escalation instead of, if the United States can't compete economically with China, do they have to cause a war with them? I mean, that's, anyway, I hate to be unpatriotic, but.
Yeah, I will stick my foot in it and say that wars are about money, and that's what they're about. I mean,
Amen to that one.
you don't, it's trade. We can all trade. No problem. It's, I want your shit.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Pat, I have a fundraising auction that Pat wanted to
Yes.
sponsor. And so it's all yours, Pat. Tell
Thank
us
you.
about it.
Thank you, Marshall. This is just an idea we're going to try today, and I hope it flies. We'll see. And please know what we're doing is going to be hopefully inspiring some of you to do the same at another LeBoppin meeting. So Jeff is going to post on the chat 2 tickets to see American in Paris, and they were donated to us. The value is like anywhere from $70 to $230, depending on what time you choose and when you want to pick this, the location of where you want to sit. So anyway, it's 2 tickets. It's going to be at American Theater West. And the way we're going to do this, and I'll answer some questions because this is the first time we're doing it, so we're hoping it goes right, is we're going to have an opening bid during the meeting of $20 for both tickets. And so on the chat, if you would just go ahead and continue to outbid each other at the end of the meeting, we'll see who's won the tickets, and I will deliver them to you as long as you live in the state. So good luck. Are there any questions on that?
hey, Pat, I'd like to mention when they read that, it's good for multiple days, for a few days up through the end of April, but you have to tell Pat specifically which day you want and time, and the dates are the 22nd through the 30th, and during the week it's at 8 p.m. Saturdays at 2 and 8, and Sunday is at 1 and 6. It's all there in the chat, and I'll put it there a couple times as the meeting goes on, but go ahead and stop bidding.
Great.
Gene Kelly won't be there.
If I may, yes.
It's
Starting
a silent auction.
$20, that's a great deal because it's, it's $70. Just that's the lowest price you can pay for those tickets. Random Links has a thing, an article about this play. Everything comes together in as brilliant in the play American in Paris. I put the link in the chat. They give it high reviews.
Isn't it a George Gershwin?
Yeah.
Is it a George Gershwin play music? The music is George Gershwin.
Yes, it's Gershwin, exactly. Thank
Oh,
you,
it is.
Armin. Thank you, Nada.
All right, good. All right, well, let's go on to old business. Let's see, I think that for next month, we're probably going to have the Lane campaign, $25 per hour for hospitality workers.
Yeah, she would love to come.
Okay, who's she?
I forgot her name. It begins with a G. I have her out. I'll
Okay.
look at my emails and find.
All right, okay, maybe you could forward that to me
Yeah.
and we'll
I
send her
will
an
for-
invitation.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will
we'd love to
forward
do
it
that,
you.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah, because this is coming up soon, so.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I think she texted me, but I'll get it to you. Don't
Okay,
worry.
sure, that's fine, yeah. Mrs. G. All right. And then we have the militarization committee report. And I put the Ukraine roundtable report on the same item.
Mhm.
Maybe can somebody report on that? I mean,
Sure, I can do Ukraine and I'll do my piece after. Armin is our chair or facilitator. Did you want to start, Armin, on the?
No.
No?
Go ahead, Pat.
Okay, so you probably remember that we were looking for people to help with the health fair and Patty and Nita stepped up. This is at Poly High School. Our work to get into Poly High School was twofold. One is to get a foot in the door and start addressing the militarism that exists there, because that seems to be the only high school that has a JROTC program. So the other thing we were trying to do is if we can get kids signed up for Peace Camp, in addition to providing information like from Lebopin and the health department, because it was a health fair. So it went really well, and I'm going to let Nada and Patty, if either one of you want to make that report. If not, I can fill in. Go ahead if you want.
Yeah, so I have a list of students. Well, two things I'll say about it. One is that we had students sign about going to Peace Camp, and there were a number of them who signed, and I've got their names and emails, which I have to get to you, Pat. And I would say about 10 out of the day. We also had conversations with kids, with students about the junior ROTC. And those were good conversations, including one with a student who had been in and quit. And I talked to her at length about why she quit and whether there were any problems when she quit. And first of all, there was no pressure on her when she decided not to remain. So, and the students, and then there were students who were in junior ROTC, and there were students who had family in. And we had conversations about whether they had felt pressure to join. And it was pretty clear they didn't get pressure, particularly I think the more trustworthy were the sisters and brothers of those who were in. And they talked about, no, that was not a problem. So what we have to do then is speak in a different way. Students were I had a number of students who, when I said are you interested in the military afterwards? And they'd push one kid to the front and say, he is, talk him out of it. That was kind of fun. That happened 3 or 4 times.
Whoa.
So that was good.
Thank you, Nada, and thank you, Patty. Patty's not here tonight, right?
She was, but there was also a nurses thing tonight, so I don't know whether she's on that. She was on this for a while. She's here.
I'm
Oh,
here.
hey.
I'm just, I've got a cold. Oh, so I'm trying not to sneeze on camera.
You want to add something to your experience there at Poly, Patty? Again?
Well, tell you what, I was absolutely amazed at how huge that school was. And I was absolutely amazed at how wonderful the students were. It was a very, very nice experience.
Thank you for being there. And let me remind everybody, we put Leboppin on the map. You know, our signs were up, our brochures were up, and some kind of recruitment materials. But I think I should have given you the backstory, which is that I think most of you know about NOMI, the network that we are aligned with that works in the area of counter recruitment across the country. And there's some articles in the New York Times about how JROTC students were being forced into JROTC in many ways. So that's why we went about doing this, to find out if that is happening, to report back to NOMI if this is one of the schools where kids are just being dumped in because they're a ninth grader, because they just don't have any place to put them. They're not supposed to do that. And now that we've eliminated that, our next step, now that we know it's not a problem at Poly, we're not going to go there, but I'm going to report back to the folks that are interested in finding out which schools are. But our next steps will be to address the militarism at Poly, because it is there. You know, you see the color guard, you see all sorts of other things. So we will be going there again in a different way to address the militarism there and to draw kids into peace camp. The other thing I wanted to say that we've been doing is peace camp, and it looks like it's going to happen. Just met with Chris. It will definitely be some kids from Fairfax, maybe a couple from San Pedro, some from Tracy. So looks like it's going to start around June 15th. We're looking and inviting people from Leboppin, maybe 2 or 3 people, if we can get them to bring a meal. I think Marshall knows about this. He's done this before, supporting us, where they cooked a meal and then they brought it down to camp. Only difference is we're not doing that kind of camping. We're going to be heading over to a really wonderful place called Terra Madre that has a big peace activism, kind of like a sanctuary and a farm. And our kids will be there on the farm, learning the skills of connecting the environment to the table. You know, we're going to do farm to table kind of stuff, but a lot of stuff to get our students into a place to unplug and talk about how to solve the issue of militarism in our communities that's been affecting our youth. If the only other thing I want to mention too was that Pola kids from San Pedro and the Tracy kids, are about 15 of them, and some students from Watts in a special after school program all showed up over at MLK Park last month on the anniversary, because we were rained out of the MLK parade. So Rachel really wanted to do this, and it was really we had a great time. We had about 20 students show up, and they all took different turns speaking about the environment and the military, how it affects the environment, how the military destroys the environment. And also we had students talking about the Beyond Vietnam speech that Dr. King said, and we kind of made sense out of that. That's our militarism committee here that gave them the cards and designed the statements and the facts that other kids got to listen to. Great Panthers had provided lunch, and it was just a great all around, I hope, first step in getting peace camp off the ground. Let me see. I think that's it for my end, other than Ukraine roundtable. Are there any questions? And did I miss something? And Armin, did you have something? Oh yeah, we need Nada to do the report on the weaponry with the police department and Marshall, right? That's part of the militarism.
So the
Yes.
surveillance, yeah, I've been deep into that. Marshall too. So let Marshall do that.
All right. I don't think I was prepared to make a big, but we're working on, we're having a teach-in coming up. I can't remember. I should have put it in the chat. Maybe you could put it in the chat, Nita. It's coming up May something or other, May
It's-
7th.
Yeah, I hope I have the date. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So anyway, yeah, but there's going to be a teach-in, and it's very exciting. And the Anti-Surveillance Coalition is working on the facial recognition and what's the other one? I'm sorry. Nina.
License plate.
Oh, the
license-
license plate. And as you know, the license plate, anybody that goes to any kind of a demonstration or anything, their license plate gets read and then they tow your car away. So that's sort of the plan. So we're keying in on those two areas. And hopefully we'll have a victory in those areas. And we're trying to meet with city councilors. So that's our latest.
Yeah,
the
and I
latest
think there is a date certain for Mary's and Day House.
Good, that's
it-
good.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
She seems like to be the one in the city council that's the most likely to be moved in our direction, right?
it's not clear.
Oh, okay.
It's not
We don't
clear.
know.
We thought Dr. Joni, but she's been putting us off a lot. Mary. It's always hard to read Mary because she's so nice and she wants everybody to love her. So it's hard to know, but at least we've got a meeting coming up with her.
That's good.
So, yeah.
I failed to mention one thing about the, to backtrack to students, there's a thing called geofencing that we're now working on with NOMI, and that's where the military is able to find out when high school kids are together, like at school, and they can dump all this advertising into their phones if they're in a certain area. So they're going to be doing that because all you know that the numbers in the military are really thinning out and they're having trouble keeping the numbers up. It's a good thing. So they're doing these creative things to try to recruit. And now they're going to dump stuff if they're just in a certain area. Everybody in that area will get these military advertisements. It's in the papers now, and the military's being open about doing this now. We're getting desperate.
All right, good. Let's see, the Ukrainian roundtable. I don't think we
Okay,
talked
did
at
I
all
hear
about
something from Armin though? Were you trying to say something earlier, Armin, before I keep blabbing?
No, well, just a report in general. We're working with the schools and that sort of thing. You all have said it. You do all the work too.
Well, you did.
The only question I had was, Nada, I sent you a link from Malwarebytes about generalized sale of our data in relationship to the
Facebook.
how cops buy our location data with Bennett ciphers. It's a
Yeah, that's part of, we're also in the anti-surveillance group working on a petition, not for getting something on the ballot, but as an educational measure, and also in order to drop a whole bunch of stuff on, say, look, 500 people sign this, they don't want it in the city, or whatever we get. We're still working on the petition.
right. It sounded a lot like that TV show where they kept track of everybody and the AI predicted their future crimes.
Yep. Well, they're keeping track of us.
Oh yeah.
Heavily.
Marshall,
Yes.
Marlene's had her hand up forever.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
looking at the agenda here. So Marlene?
Oh,
Do you wanna-
yeah, I haven't having that, yeah. What I'm trying to find out is, on the bidding, that is $70 for each ticket?
No, $70 would be the total donation for 2 tickets.
Oh, okay, that's all I want to know.
And 70 is our last bid. That's-
yep.
Great. Terrific.
Thank you, Wayne.
You the man, bro.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Are we ready to go? Well, we had the Ukrainian roundtable. I thought it was good.
Did you? Oh, good. Let me say a couple things about it. It was April 8th. It is available on Veterans for Peace's YouTube channel. Can't find it? Text me, email me, and we'll make sure you get a copy of it. We actually had over 250 people sign up. Unfortunately, we were using the wrong, sad to say, what do you call it? Zoom link, and they cut them off at 100. So we've been getting
Oh,
lots of,
Yeah.
you know, bad. So we've been getting lots of requests to send them the YouTube coverage because we want that to get out. It was Medea Benjamin from Code Pink and Bill Fletcher from UFPJ with opposing points of view about what to do in Ukraine. And the comments that we got so far, and we really need more feedback, which you can text or put on the chat, was that they were so glad to see these two people that have been pretty much, you know, on opposite ends of the spectrum here to some degree in the peace movement, with a lot of tension, a lot of bad talking going on between the 2 points of view, that these two people came together and handled this in such a nice way, complimented each other, and just did a fantastic job. We were very nervous about how we're going to keep the trollers and the bad folks from saying, thank you, Marlene, from saying that, hey, we don't, you know, this is bad. I mean, there was some things that were out of control on the chat a little bit, but we were so glad we did it. So far we're hearing a lot of good things. Want to challenge other people to do the same and appreciate any feedback. Thank you.
And the YouTube link will be on the chat in a couple of minutes.
Oh, good. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to new business. I don't know what our treasury. Oh, I don't think we had a treasury report, but I left it out.
Well, so what it shows, the check to DSA hasn't been cashed according to our bank. And though they spent the money. So I don't know how they did that, but and we owe $150 to I think it's Veterans for Peace for the Ukraine roundtable. So I have to do a little math here, subtracting that from what we've got. And I'm doing it right now. Oh, that's not.
And Nada, you can just make the check out to me because I am the one.
Yeah, I know, but I can't, I don't want to report it that way.
Yeah, right,
You
Jeff.
made the check.
Thank you, Nada, and thank you, Marlene, for your bids.
8 minus 450. Okay, so 8, 12, 7. We have 778 in real money. I mean, the account shows more, but the way I did the math, it comes out 778. And we do need, I mean, if we give money away at the rate of $450 a month, we don't have that many months left if we're going to live off our what we've got now. So I think the next item about a fundraiser is an important one.
So,
and we
yeah.
have the voluntary dues contributions also.
Mhm. Well, that was brought up in the steering committee, and you know, I think it was. I think it's something we should do. Is that every year we should ask people for a voluntary contribution. I know that Vivian gave us $100, right, Vivian? So, and we want to thank you for that. And that was just, we didn't even ask her for money. So imagine if we had asked her for money, she would have given us even more money. So, but I think we could ask for people for, you know, between $20 and $50 as a voluntary contribution to the organization. I don't
That
think
sounds
out
very
of-
reasonable.
it
Yeah,
doesn't,
send an email.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a great idea. Yeah.
in the old days, we used to pass the hat at every meeting.
Yeah,
And since we haven't been in person, we haven't been able to do that. So I think it makes sense just to send an email out and give them, you know, tell people where to mail the money, and I can report on how much we got from that effort.
Yeah. I think it's a great
Exactly.
idea.
Yay, yay.
Mhm. Oh, good. So let's try, I don't know, I guess we could once a year, we could just do the voluntary thing, and then I guess monthly, we could just ask for little passing the hat, and maybe we
Yeah.
could.
Or do some more auctioning.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea too. Yeah, some
Yeah.
more.
I think we could use Wayne's hat, I think that'd be, it's the only one that's got a hat here, so. All
Oh,
right.
no, he's not. I'm just
No.
not wearing it.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
well,
other people can come up with stuff to auction as well. I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
and we
Oh, I
did
like
have
that
a,
one, Armand.
yeah, I mean, we had a poetry slam, we had, I don't know. Just
The
to
poetry
GoFundMe.
slam, the poetry slam actually raised quite a bit of money.
Mhm. That's
So
true.
that worked quite well.
That I don't know if anybody wants to organize that, but yeah.
Well, this time you could do it live instead of, but didn't we do it Zoom last time?
We did it Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it
We
worked
did
pretty
it
well.
Zoom,
yeah.
but that meant, but Marlene, that meant we had the people from Hawaii get on, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And they were among the best of the poets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know who's a good organizer for something like that, especially in person, would be Karen.
Oh,
Because she did talk about doing it in person and
Karen Harper?
yeah, and you could actually combine it with an idea of like doing a poetry slam in person and then honoring maybe one person for Peacemaker of the Year adult. Not go through the whole categories thing, and that would bring all of that person who wins the Peacemaker of the Year, their friends could come, or her or his friends could come.
Yeah.
So you could combine it with Peacemaker. We used to make some money off of Peacemaker, but
Oh, we made a lot of money off of Peacemaker.
oh yeah, that was big.
so maybe we could do a version of it, like, pick one person in the community, because I don't know if we have the number of volunteers. We're out of sorts anyway. It's been a while, so we got to get our mojo back to pull off something big like we did before that. The energy's gone. And I don't want to be too close to any of you. With the pandemic, that's what everybody's thinking, Even us meeting in person is sketchy now.
True. Even.
Yeah, and I just caught a cold and it was really bad this weekend. I was really ill this weekend. I don't even know how I got it. Because I don't really go out that much. I stay in the house. Yeah, so and wear masks. So I don't know,
All right. Okay, so those are some ideas. I don't know if we want to have a fundraising committee or something. I guess the steering committee will talk about it, and then we'll come back to you. Okay, and then do we have a report on what's happening for May Day?
Well, so this is interesting, and I'll get back in touch with her at the health fair. Somebody who was working a different table, and not a PUSO table, but is active in PUSO, came up to me, said, was Labapan going to take part? And I said, I thought we would, but we haven't had anybody involved. So I gave her my email. She and I have exchanged emails, except she never got me the information about May Day. It was good to see you, it was like, why, which is nice to see somebody, but that's not really what we need. So I will make an effort to get in touch with someone working on May Day. Wayne, have you been in touch with any of them?
I haven't. I had been involved up to the last one, and planning and everything, but I haven't been approached through this year. I'm figuring, hey, you kids take it.
Yeah. Well, and so anyway, I'll try to track it down. Yes, there is something happening on May Day. What it is, I do not know.
Well, Jimmy asked me from DSA if Labama would be interested in May Day, and I think I asked Wayne or something, but
Right.
yeah, but he said no, he wasn't interested. So I just didn't pursue it any further. So Jimmy of DSA might know. I could ask
Well,
him.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't know Jimmy at DSA, so you get in touch with him and ask him about it.
Right, I will.
Oh, yeah, because they're gonna do something, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
no, they are. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't know what.
If they do it like prior things, they'll probably, they may have like tiers. Tier 1, people that are very active in coordinating it and planning it and everything. Tier 2, and then tier 3, we would be tier 3. Yes, we would have a presence there, but we're not involved in. Because I think we put money towards it as LaBop and other groups did too, so, yeah. That's it, that's,
Okay. So we'll just find out about that. Okay, and then from Anna Christensen, she sent us a long letter about actually the gates of this community garden in North Long Beach were closed as soon as the new city councilor came in. Apparently, she has other uses for this farm. This community farm's been going on for a couple of years, and it's a real center for people, and they were just locked out recently. I don't know. I have the letter. I don't know if anybody saw, is it, I can put a link to the letter in the chat, I think. But so they wanted to have a sign on to protesting this, you know, whatever's going on there, this lockout. So anyway,
yeah,
this,
a letter to City Hall and to protested that an old fire station that had been the fire department left. They've got new digs, and this became I believe just recently became a heritage building as well. But the pictures, they haven't been allowed to go there. They've had crop swaps there. They've had master gardeners there, this, that, and the other, and they just shut it. The whoever's doing the 9th district just shut it down completely. Kind of disgusting. It's like a war on healthy food or growing or community, you know.
Who's the representative for the 9th district?
it's
Hey.
what's her name?
Dr. Joni Ricks Odie.
Joni Rizzoni, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, all of a sudden, and then she told them, according to the letter, she told them that the area, the garden was going to be used for a different purpose. And that was it. I mean, you know, in Long Beach, some developer usually decides they want to do something. And that's the end of it. Community goes to hell, you know, but anyway, so I think we should sign on to the letter. If we can get a motion to that fact.
I make a motion to sign on to that letter, and let's go forward with it.
If anybody wants to see the letter, I can send it out. It's long.
Who's the letter to and what is it generally?
It's the letter to,
It's a
It's
letter
a-
to the, I have it in front of me, letter
Oh,
to
you
the
do?
city manager, mayor, and city council.
you know,
And then it goes on, I would have made it shorter, but do not lock out community gardeners from the Firehouse Community Farm. And the lease was given to a neighborhood association and it's been withdrawn from them and nobody knows where it's going next. And so they want the lease restored to the neighborhood association.
So where is that at? Where's that going?
North Long Beach,
North Long Beach? Okay.
yeah.
Marcia, did you cut off my video feed?
About 5 minutes.
oh, no. I didn't do anything to your video feed.
Okay.
Let's
You
start
must have done a stop video thing in the lower left-hand corner.
Yeah, Bruce, you must have done that.
Oh,
again.
probably, okay. Yeah, okay.
That's right.
There you are.
Oh,
Where'd you go?
He popped up and then. All right, so was there a second to this?
Second.
Okay, second. Okay, so any discussion?
You would have made it shorter, Nada?
I would have made the letter shorter, but it's not from me, but you know, it's their letter, so.
Yeah.
I have,
Yeah, I'm with you. Some people are verbose.
I wrote to page limits all my career. And so I'm real conscious of too long. But it's not our letter and there's nothing wrong with the sense of it. I just think
Okay.
that they could have edited it one more time.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Just once.
Okay, so, all right, so that ends discussion. All those in favor of signing on to this letter, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand or doing something.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
aye.
Okay, it passed. Very good. All right. All right, now we're on to reports. Which,
Oh,
okay, Helene is not here.
But I have something for her.
Okay,
May I?
sure.
I hope we do something for May Day, but if you're not doing that other thing for May Day, whatever it is, Lewis, our veteran member here in Lebaupin, is hosting an immigrant rights panel at Long Beach City College at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
He's going to have Robert Vivard. He's going to have a deported veteran, and they're going to be having a lot of students there learning about the issue of immigrant rights and what happens to deported veterans. They're also asking that Lebaupin have a table. So I'll be going and invite anybody to go with me. It's the campus on Clark, and I'll be setting up some info on Lebaupin.
That's Clark and Carson.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they're also having a VFP table, Wayne.
I'm on the steering committee.
Yeah, well, we know it's more important.
Do you know if they've contacted the Immigrant Rights Coalition?
No, I don't think they have. I think Lewis is in a vacuum on that. Who's
Yeah, I think,
that person? Can you?
Huso and maybe
Well, if we went to the immigrant rights, so Gabby Hernandez is the executive director. And Jamulette, whatever her last name is, I'm bad on names tonight, is a staff member. I can get you, I'll get Pat, I'll send you the emails for Jamulette.
Okay.
yeah. Because I think they'd love to have a,
Oh,
you know, a
yeah.
table. Oh, yeah, that's their thing, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, of course. I'm sorry, I'm disconnected, as you know. Thank you.
that's tomorrow
Okay,
morning.
great.
And
That's
short
terrific.
notice.
Yeah.
Monday, the 1st at 10 a.m.
Oh, Monday
good.
first?
Yeah, it's on May Day, right? Isn't that May Day?
Mhm.
No, no.
So you can do this and do a march if they do that later.
You could do anything, yeah.
Double header, no.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, a Palestine report. Marlene, did you,
Well, I think I already said pretty much everything.
you already talked about, yeah.
Yeah, and really, it would be nice if we got some people to help us just
Mhm.
flyer. in the
Yeah, I'll try to
afternoon.
make it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just in the afternoon, once a month, you know, it's for only 2 hours, and it's local, so, yeah. And also, if anybody got my, my video, it would be nice if you shared it, actually. Because it's really important to say that, you know, to talk about how we're spending all this money, and it's all military money, and basically they're bulldozing down houses, among other things. But we do need that money here in to house our unhoused. I mean, that's really a big issue right now with here in Long Beach, everywhere, you know. So yeah, I hope people would pass along the video to people that they know. it's short, you know, and I did it in, like, I did it in various formats. So it could be sent in an email, but also but I don't know, I don't think you guys do Instagram. But I also did on TikTok too, so anyway, yeah.
Well, we can put it on Facebook. Yeah.
Right,
Can
yeah,
you send it to, could you send it to me again?
I will,
And then I'll post it. All right, good.
yeah, but it's also nice if you could just email it or post it on, you know, on your own, on your own personal, Facebook page or Twitter or whatever, except I don't use Twitter. I'm boycotting Twitter. Okay, that's about it. Oh, and okay. that's
Okay,
it.
next is Medicare for All. Patty. Is she still here?
Yeah, right
Okay,
here.
good. Oh, there you are.
I'm even
Yes.
on camera.
You're on
Yeah.
camera.
You know what? Thank you. Nada, Marshall's wife, you guys were wonderful. We had a very successful canvas last month. This month, we're doing something a little different. We're canvassing at the Senior Fest for Gray Panthers. So, you know, we're just going to work the room and have a table and have a video from the nurses. Going forward, I'm planning on a canvas on a monthly basis at various places. So if you hear of some place that would be good, I'm trying to spread out to a different area of town each month. Okay, to try and just get the word out there. And so if you hear of anything going on that sounds interesting, that you know, the tabling or canvassing would fit in, love it. And I think that's it. That we've got a Senate and the feds are getting ready to drop a bill next month, okay, in both the House and the Senate. So when it happens, you'll be hearing.
Great. Okay, thank you, Patty. Let's see, Dale is not here. We already did basically the environment. Abortion rights. Helene is not here. Does anybody have anything about abortion rights that they want to share?
Well,
Anything?
The Supreme Court put off the decision about Miffy until Friday, which I don't think it's a good sign, frankly, but people are people are reading into whatever until we hear the decision about it. It is actually a decision that could have immense impact, not only around abortion, but it would be around the FDA's ability to approve drugs, medication. And in general is one way it could go. The other thing is it's sort of fun. It's the whole argument's based on the Comstock law from, you know, from
Right.
Victorian times. It's like, no. So it and on that level, who knows what's going to happen. And I know Helene went to the march last weekend, last Sunday. I didn't go because there's all kinds of family stuff going on. But I think it was a decent turnout, and the vice president showed up, so that was interesting.
That was big.
So anyway, that life is not good. California is gonna be okay, and we've stockpiled the drug and, you know, all of that, as have other states. But it's not good. It's not a good thing for people around the country.
No. I think I see Armin's hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to add that on the abortion pill issue, that all that stuff, there is some pushback from religious groups, specifically Jewish religious groups. And I can't remember, there's another couple more. It's against their religion. to limit abortion, limit what the woman's control over her body.
Hmm.
So that's a little bit of white light there.
I do know that HHS and the Department of Justice stayed up all night, actually did an all-nighter to file the government's objections in time, the Biden objections in time to get it to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And my son's 53. He said, I'm too old to do an all-nighter, but I did it. He is too old to do an all-nighter.
How long did it take to recover from that?
He was at work the next day.
And you?
I didn't pull it. He
Oh,
did.
oh, he did.
He's 53. I'm 81. I don't do it.
Past my bedtime. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, very
So we're
good.
on
So
to announcements?
announcements, yes,
Can I go first?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to make sure everybody understands that the bidding is about to close. And you can see the latest bid coming from Marlene at 100. So I'm going to ask Marshall if he'll call it when the auction is over at the end of the last announcement, if Marshall can announce that. And in the meantime, Jeff's going to put up a picture, if we can share the screen, of our Peace Club at MLK Park in front of the MLK statue. If I could just show that real quick, Jeff. Oh, we've got to give him permission, right, Marshall, or who's got?
Give me permission to share.
Yeah, I have to give you permission. Let's see.
You're going to want to frame this.
Let's- I don't remember how to do that, but
Oh, okay. Well, maybe later as they're doing it.
give me permission.
In the meantime,
To
I have a
screen share.
question for you, Pat.
I'm done. Go ahead.
You did mention that the Peace Camp has changed, it's going to some form. Where is this form?
It's going to be, the farm is going to be in Escondido, which is a good hour away from here, and 15, I think. But it's supposed to just be wonderful. It's a garden sanctuary with a yurt and a huge fire ring, and we're still going to camp out there. It's a farm, so our kids will be learning how to do the farm to table experience.
Mhm.
From here we are at MLK Park with all our students. Wasn't that a cool event?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool there.
Thank you, Gray Panthers. We're going to make sure they get a copy. They helped fun. But anyway, it was a fun time with our kids there. So we hope to have the same amount of kids doing this kind of stuff, learning the skills of organizing, particularly to look at their community, because we'll have LA, Long Beach, and probably San Diego students there. And they'll be looking to solve issues in their community. In particular, we're focusing on the incursion of the military into our schools. I'm done. Oh, did you have another question there, Bruce, about?
No, you've answered. That's really good.
Okay, I'll put the address if anybody wants to help us with food or.
Oh, and one other thing, the camp, is that for one or two days, the weekend or what?
It's going to be probably after school's out in Long Beach, it'll probably be June 15th. That's a Monday through the 18th. That's Thursday. Overnight camping.
Nice.
They have a pizza oven. Sure. We're gonna do it. We're gonna pick some things from the farm and put them on the pizza.
Okay, so I think, is that the last announcement?
No.
No.
No. Two things about the chat is, I just found out tonight, is you can actually, down by the smiley face, just to the left of it, that says file, and you can actually click on a picture and it'll come up in the chat window. I just found that out today.
Get out. We could have done that instead. Thank
Well,
you.
And the other thing on the chat window is on to the right of that smiley face, 3 dots. You can actually save this chat to your computer with all the links and everything you may want to check out later. Maybe possibly we should include that with going out with the minutes of the meeting or something, or
Okay. I just saved it. Thank you.
Yeah, I do that normally, though.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, so
we
now.
can't.
now-
Two.
Okay,
now
Mr.
to
Know-it-all.
going to say-
Mr. Know-it-all, huh? Yeah,
I'm glad
right.
somebody told me how to do that. That's terrific.
That's having
But-
fun with the emojis.
I like
Okay.
the,
So there's gonna be a Pavunga
That's cool.
teaching and update. And that's on April 30th. Join us 4:30 to hear the history of ongoing battles at Pavunga. We will hear from the 1993 litigants. The purpose of this teach-in and day is to remind us of, as individuals, collectives, and communities, about the importance of sacredness of Pavunga, as well as other sites. We'll also be discussing the settlement agreements and how the university is in violation to what was settled on during it back in the day. So join us for a day of listening, sharing, learning, come together as a community. Feel free to bring your own chair if you want to sit down, and your own water and a dish to share with community. So that's what's happening at Pavunga. They're still
oh, great.
they're still working on that mound and adding to it, and it's just, they're breaking all the whatever agreements they had come to, but that's no surprise. So I think probably Sharon would be up in their butt about that. Yeah, so that's Pavunga. That's the only statement announcement I had.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to officially call the auction to an end, and it looks like Marlene Alvarado.
Yay!
Hey, do you need a date?
Uh-oh. Yeah, that is terrific. Yeah. Marlene Alvarado wins at a bid. Can I tell everybody your bid? It was it $1,000?
Yes,
$1,000.
Thank you.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
You're so
Yeah.
generous.
Transparency.
It's my glasses. It's $100.
$1,000, right?
I'll be bringing you the info, Marlene. Thank you.
Okay, all right,
Okay, good.
Good meeting, guys.
okay.
All right, thank you very much. We actually ended at 8:30. If anybody wants to stay on for another 2 hours and bravo, we could do that, but I'm leaving.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much,
you very
everybody.
much. Yeah, all right.
All right,
All
guys.
right.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Marshall, you were super efficient. Good job.
You really
thank you.
were.
Yeah.
Bye,
So
Vivian.
long,
Thank you for your
Vivian.
generosity.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye.
I'm ending. Yeah. End meeting.